Your focus will now be brought to the state. What dates are you leaving to make sure that the county continues to grow?
That's good. I get that a lot, and it's important because one of the reasons I believe we lost the governorship the last time around was because we forgot that, Prince George's County, first of all, Prince George's County is the bedrock of Democratic votes. It's the largest in the state. A Democrat cannot win the nomination or the governorship without winning Prince George's County. And I think in the last election, people felt like, okay, we got Prince George's County, let's just go somewhere else. And we were determined not to do that for two reasons. One is, after you put so much time and effort into a place, and we're gonna, as I tell people all the time, my wife and I ain't going nowhere. This is it. We ain't moving nowhere. We're staying in Prince George's County. So one, we want to see our home values rise up, and two, we want the community safe. And so what we've done as administration is I've told folks, and Karen can tell you this, we've talked to them and said, you know what? I want people to think about not the next 14 months that we have in office, but the next 14 years and 20 years. What is it we're going to do? So if you look at the things that we've set in place, they're going to happen. I don't give guarantees, but there are a couple of guarantees I can tell you. Loudtown Largo will be developed, and it will be unbelievable. I know it because we've already set things in motion. No matter who becomes county executive or who's on the county council, it's done. That's already set. Suitland's gonna happen. If you know it, I go by there now, you look at it, you're like, oh, that guy's crazy. But think H Street, think U Street.
Yes.
And think about doing that without having to build a metro station. Suitland will happen because we put so much, because the county bought the land. The county is acting as a developer. So we put things in place to make sure they can't be overturned. They're gonna take place there. Our education reform, that is gonna stay. The superintendent, for the first time, just think about it, for the first time in 20 years, we've got a superintendent that's actually renewed the contract. In 20 years, we've had 14 superintendents. The average length of time that they've stayed is 3 years. The average length of time for superintendents nationwide is 5 years. Montgomery County is 15. So we're going to have that, and the education reforms will stay in there because they're already set in place. And finally, around actually two more, healthcare, because that's really important to us in Prince George's County. It is one of the things that I discovered when I came in as county executive, and one of the reasons I want to run for governor is I never really paid attention to healthcare in a way that I probably should have. I didn't, it was education, economic development. And it wasn't until I became county executive that I realized a lot of our issues in schools and with public safety have to do with access to quality health care from the very beginning, whether it's behavioral health, whether it's family, all of those things surrounding it. You think about opioid addiction, that is really not crime, that is health. And so we put a lot of emphasis and effort into healthcare to expand our presence in our schools, to expand our bus that goes to community centers, both dental, medical health that goes out there, but also building the new hospital is just simply not a hospital. You could have built a hospital, but what we wanted was a regional medical center. Because the reason you want that is the state now is committed to making sure that the hospital at Prince George's, the new hospital there, will serve Prince George's County in the southern region, but it also connects our healthcare throughout the county. So Dimensions is the new form of Dimensions. Is connected to doctors, it's connected to Fort Washington, it's connected to what's happening in Laurel up there. So we've got continuing care throughout, and people have access. Those things that we leave in place, won't change around our healthcare system. They're going to stay in place. No matter what happens at the Affordable Care Act, I think that's where the state has to step in. Whether Affordable Care Act stays or goes, there are changes that have to be made, and we should be leading that to state. The county is going to be in good shape. And the other is our infrastructure. Transportation is important. You can't do any development project without transportation because developers don't do that. That's what you buy into. That's what you offer to them. We've set up so that Prince George's County, and we made a huge investment in the Purple Line. Did I like the fact that we put $120 million in a statewide project? No. But what I saw the benefits out of it is this. we can create jobs throughout that line in areas that we never thought of before. Not just College Park, it gets a lot of conversation. But if you think over in Langley Park, and the potential in the International Square, that right now has a chance of taking off because you're gonna do the Purple Line. The other thing that we did on the Purple Line that, you know, the state and Montgomery County didn't like, so maybe I shouldn't say this in Montgomery County, is that you've never had a metro station start in Prince George's County. We're always the end of the line. And you might think to yourself, you know, well, why does it matter? You're gonna get it, it gets out here, the blue line got out here, what do you care? Well, the reason it matters and everyone fights for it to begin there is because businesses know that wherever that beginning money is, that's guaranteed money. If it's starting here, that means we have 10 years head start on other places in the state where we could go to business and say, hey, you know what? It's guaranteed state money, guaranteed federal money, guaranteed county money. It's gonna happen at least to get to the border. And once you get past the border, that's, you know, that's another story. But those businesses can start developing around it. The reason the boulevard is being developed now is not because they see the hospital coming out of the ground. Once we signed a guarantee that the hospital was gonna happen, that's when they start buying out all the places that you see closed there. They're not closing because people didn't come. They're closing because they bought them back because they're gonna charge more. They're gonna reshape everything. Once that deal was signed, the same way with the Purple Line. And that's gonna help this county grow because it's guaranteed. We know at least 8 years worth of development on that Purple Line is gonna happen. And most of that's gonna happen here, so we get the opportunity to have that growth. And I think that sets the county up in a very good way. But you need state partners. We couldn't have done any of these things, maybe this is a good way to close. You know, when people say, well, how, you know, and I think this is why, you know, Anthony Brown, Congressman Anthony Brown lost is, you know, people felt like, well, what does it matter who the governor is? Once you found out, you know, people got a sense that Larry Hogan wasn't a bad guy. I mean, I don't know him personally, but it seems okay. Well, once you figured that out, people were like, well, it doesn't matter if it's Larry Hogan or Anthony Brown. They were like, well, you know, either they showed up or didn't show up. Most people didn't vote for him, they just didn't bother to go out and vote. It matters now. What we're figuring out is it does matter. It matters because if we didn't have O'Malley as governor, we couldn't have gotten the extra resources to help us with our sheriff's department to serve warrants here. We actually got those money from Governor O'Malley. We couldn't have increased our state's attorney's office. We couldn't have set up our 311 system or our county staff. Because what we did was we went to the governor and said, listen, I need your help. These are Marylanders that live in Prince George's County. These are things we need to do. We need our tax dollars. It's not like it's a gift. We gave them to you, we'd like some back. But it's because you had a governor that understood that and helped. As opposed to what people were finding around the state is